So as you read in the video title, I'm on a really exciting weaving adventure this summer, and let me give you a little bit of backstory just to explain how I got here. A couple years ago, my mom and I traveled to Japan to have 2 weeks of intensive weaving study at Saori no Mori, the Saori headquarters. So while we were there, we got to learn Saori weaving directly from Kenzo Joe himself, which was amazing. And we also got the chance to meet a bunch of American Saori studio owners who happened to be there at the same time as us. One of these Saori studio owners was Suzanne, who owns Wabi Sabi Weaving in San Diego. A couple months ago, Suzanne reached out to me and she was like, hey, do you want to hang out with me for the summer as kind of like a work-study, internship, apprenticeship kind of thing? And of course, I said yes. So here I am in beautiful San Diego, and I'm gonna be here for the next 4 weeks partaking in tons of different Wabi Sabi weaving adventures. Technically, yesterday was my first day, and I met up with Suzanne to make a whole bunch of plans of what we're gonna do for the next 4 weeks, and I am so excited. We have plans to weave, to host workshops, to dye stuff, to sew, and of course, if I'm gonna sew some garments, I needed to bring some fabric to actually sew with, so I brought all of those 30 meters that I made in that 30 days, 30 meters challenge video that I posted a little while back, and I'm really excited to finally see all of that transformed into some fun garments. I also brought with me pretty much all of the hand-woven garments that I've made so far, including this one that I'm wearing right now, and I also brought all of my camera gear so I can take you along on this journey with me. Anyway, that's definitely more than enough talking for now, so I'm gonna get ready to go for my first official day at the studio. Whew, okay, I got my camera gear, my fabrics, all my hand-woven clothes, because we want to do a little show and tell with everything I brought, and then just some more like miscellaneous gear and stuff, and now we're ready to go to the studio. Yay! Woo! So let me show you around a little bit. Wabi Sabi Weaving shares a space with the Needlecraft Cottage, which is a gorgeous little yarn store here in Pacific Beach, San Diego. They sell yarn, fabric, needlepoint supplies, and more. The weaving studio lives behind the yarn store. This bright and sunny patio is where all the weaving and workshops take place. And inside the studio, there's an amazing assortment of Saori looms, yarns, warps, projects, and more. Most of today was spent chatting and planning, so there wasn't a whole lot to film, but I did have a chance to show Suzanne my giant stash of hand-woven fabrics and clothes. We opened up every single one of my fabrics and brainstormed what they could become. Hello again! I just finished my first official day at Wabi Sabi Weaving, and I stopped at this farmer's market, which is right behind the studio. I got a blueberry mango lemonade and a Cuban sandwich with pineapple and mango in it, so I'm having a great day. I'm walking to the beach, everything's perfect. The next day, I arrived to a lovely surprise. Suzanne made this flyer to advertise our workshop to her weavers, and it is just so dang sweet. Then we spent the whole morning threading looms. Even though I have my own loom at home and I've threaded it many times, I really wanted to see Suzanne's methods, because everyone does this process slightly differently, and it's nice to compare notes. Threading the loom used to feel like a super tedious chore that I absolutely hated doing, but lately I've been finding it pretty relaxing and I don't mind it nearly as much. After we finished setting up all of the looms, we were ready for our first weaving group of the week. Each weaver had their own loom, and it was really fun to watch everyone weave just to see how differently everyone's fabrics turned out. Some had projects that they'd been working on for a little while, and others were totally new to weaving and were here to learn the basics. At the end of the day, there was some extra warp left over on a piccolo loom. And since I've never used that kind of loom before, I asked if I could weave up the leftovers and create a little sample just for fun. While I was weaving, a part of my warp failed, so I used this screw up as an opportunity to learn a technique that was totally new to me, where you could create ruffles on your fabric by tying those loose warp ends to a weight and letting them hang off the back of your loom. The difference in tension causes this super fun frilly fabric. After my day at the weaving studio, I headed over to a paint-your-own ceramic studio where I met up with Suzanne's daughter and her friends, who so kindly invited me to paint some pottery and to hang out. I know this is super cheesy, but I based my design off of plaids and weaving drafts because why not? The next morning, I had some free time, so I tackled another new-to-me weaving technique. This time, I explored the comb reed, which is like a normal reed except that it's open on one side like a comb. That way you can create designs in your weaving by pulling out the warp threads and rearranging them as you go. Admittedly, I spent a lot of time off camera struggling to set this whole thing up, so I didn't get that much time to mess around with it. But even in this little sample, you can sort of see how some of the warp threads are bunched together, and some are spread apart, and how that affects the fabric. I'm definitely excited to mess around with this some more when I have some more free time. For lunch, I grabbed a burrito at a nearby taqueria, and then we had another group of weavers join us on the patio for a lovely afternoon of weaving. And some of them brought their weaving assistants. That evening, I learned how to thread a loom using the Saori tabletop beaming and threading system, which is pretty amazing. This device lets you thread your loom without actually being at your loom. Then, Suzanne and I spent the rest of the night assembling a 4-harness loom.
Woo! And look at all of them!
Look at all the battles!
Woo!
Good morning, happy Friday! I'm all alone in the studio today, which means that I get to start some personal projects, and I'm really excited about that. So Suzanne gave me permission to set up and use her 4-harness Saori loom, which I'm super excited about because I've never actually used one of those before. If you've been following my FIT journey for a little while, you know that I've spent a lot of time doing multi-shaft weaving, but I've never actually combined that kind of weaving with my Saori style, so I'm really excited to have the chance to use that and to incorporate some more structured weaves into my kind of like crazy no rules apply weaving style. So it should be a really fun experiment, and I'm gonna take you along on the journey with me. So in this vlog, I'm gonna show you some of the experience with using that loom, but I'm actually gonna make an entirely separate video that fully documents the whole project in detail. So you'll get a taste of it here, and then look out for the extra video that I'm gonna post that like fully documents the whole project from start to finish. Anyway, yeah, let's get started. So first things first, I picked out a little pile of yarns and I'm gonna make a warp. Twills! I am so excited with how this is turning out so far. It's pretty much just Saori fabric with like a twill design, which I know isn't the most like groundbreaking thing in the world, but for me it's a lot of fun to explore. So I'm gonna keep working on this over the course of probably the next like week or so you'll definitely see updates as I continue on. Anyway, the shop is about to close, so I'm gonna clean up and then I have some errands to run before I'm gonna head back to my hotel. I grabbed some muslin so we could brainstorm some garment designs for all of my fabrics, and I also grabbed these 2 ridiculous novelty prints for my boyfriend. I got my loom, my weaving, and my time lapse set up. So yeah, let's go. Okay, I'm battling with myself because I wanted to try to include some different yarns and different colors other than what I have in my warp, and I found this and I'm thinking about it. Let me show you what it looks like. Okay, call me crazy, but it kind of works, right? Right? Do I do it? Okay, I put some in. I put it in 2 places. And I can't decide if I love it or hate it. At least it's not too hard to take out if I decide later I don't like it, but I don't know. Might be a little too much, but it's also kind of fun. Later on, the yarn store owner invited me to join his introduction to crochet class, which was so much fun. And then Suzanne and I spent the rest of the day planning out tomorrow's garment sewing workshop. Hello, happy Sunday! So today we have a garment sewing workshop here at the studio, so we have some people coming to sew some clothes together, and that should be a whole lot of fun. So yeah, let's go! Before cutting into my own hand-woven fabric, I made the garment out of the cheap cotton muslin fabric that I got at Joann's to make sure that it would fit like I wanted it to. Then we helped our workshop attendees transform their own gorgeous fabrics into this coat. We took a quick wine and snack break, and then I started on my own version of the coat. The fabric I'm using was made during my 30 days, 30 meters challenge using all of my knitting friends' scraps and leftover skeins of yarn that were specifically from the brand Noro, which is one of my all-time favorite yarn brands. I thought that this super thick wool fabric would make for a perfect winter coat. If you want to learn more about how exactly I made this fabric, check out this video's description for a link to my 30 days, 30 meters challenge video. Alright, so this is my progress so far. I have all my pieces cut out and I think this is the layout that I'm going to go for. So these will be the front pieces and these will be the back pieces. So tomorrow I'm going to come early and hopefully finish this coat. Yay! Hello, happy Monday! So I have some time again in the studio this morning all to myself, so I'm going to use it to continue to work on the coat that I started yesterday, and maybe I can get it done. Who knows? So I think I'm good with this orientation that I showed you last night, and now I just need to do some neck shaping. Okay, I cut my little neck pieces, and now I'm going to join the back seam. Okay, back seam done. Now I'm gonna do some shoulder shaping and attach the fronts. So at this point I have kind of a awkward poncho-y thing. So I'm gonna work on the sleeves and the sides next. So for this sleeve, just as kind of like a little decorative element, I'm actually gonna sew it with my front and back pieces on top of the sleeve, just so you see my funky little selvages. Okay, so the side seams and the sleeves are still not attached, and I might actually hold off on doing that just for a little bit because I want to make sure I understand how I'm supposed to do the armpit part without making it super bulky. So I want to wait for Suzanne to get back so I can ask her for help, but I'm making good progress. I also still have just a bunch of like little things to do, like rolling some hems, doing the collars, but I'm really happy with it so far. I'll be sure to show it to you when it's all done. One of Suzanne's regular weavers named Jancy brought in this amazing vest that she designed herself, which features a statement collar with a drawstring, and I totally fell in love. So the three of us worked together to write out a pattern for this amazing vest so we could all make it for ourselves in our own sizes. I'm still deciding which fabric I want to use for this vest, but I can't wait to make it. And before heading home for the day, I went for a walk on the beach. Nice crunch. Thank you so much for joining me this week in this video. I hope you had a fun time following along my journey. I know it was like a little bit kind of scattered just because this week we're still kind of figuring things out, but I'll be here for another 3 weeks and woo, just got hit by a wave. Anyway, I will be here for another 3 weeks, so expect 3 more videos of Wabi Sabi Weaving adventures, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!